because I have
Yeah.
direct. I cannot make it faster, but I can make it stable.
Yeah, better. I would appreciate that. At stability is better. Yun lang. At least it moves better. Okay, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Roy Prado. I'm an alumnus, actually from elementary to college, but I'll just say my high school was in '87 and I graduated PSCC in 1993. So that was also a good start because that was the cellular evolution during that time. So our first talk for today, this afternoon, is all about 5G. We're dealing with cellular mobile communications. This is not Wi-Fi. This is not LoRa yet. Maybe in the next few runs, we could run through that too. But for now, let's concentrate on the buzzword called 5G. Okay. Let's go through the objective now. I would like to refresh a lot of you, especially for those who are coming in as fresh graduates or has been with the industry for some time or has been an enthusiast of technology. Who are the earlier players? What are the most important factors of a wireless network? There's only three, and then we will go through them. So at least when you're talking about wireless, you'll have an idea that with these three, you can already gauge whether you're having a good network or it needs improvement. And the first question is that do we really need 5G? And what is it? Do we really need 5G and what is it? And what can it provide? What other technologies are needed to power up 5G? We'll go through a bit of its architecture. And for those who are starting in ECE, those who have I've invited to come over, especially the newly grads, what skills do we need for 5G? What are the opportunities in the RF industry? We will summarize that, and I'll also give you some of my references. Okay. Okay, let's start with mobile evolution from 1G to 5G, lahat na lang G, but anyway, that's generation. So going back to the 1980s when I was still going through my high school, there was already two major players during that time. Okay, first is we have Philtel, and second is we have Extelcom, the Express Telecommunications. Now, as we have known, PhilTel is part of the PLDT group, which up to now still controls Smart. Okay, and they're still very much dominant in both wire and wireless. And second, we had the disruptive player known as Express Telecom, which is under Millicom during that time. Millicom is a company based in the United Kingdom. So they invested, both of them invested in a technology called AMPS, Advanced Mobile Phone System. These are analog. The advantage in the 1980s for mobile, of course, is that you can now use your very big mobile phone going out of the house. But that was really very expensive during that time. Only the well-to-do people or people of high places who have influence and money can really buy. One mobile phone during that time cost around 30,000 pesos. So it was really a big amount of money during that time. But then, what were the advantages? Of course, the advantages is that you can call people. But then the quality of calling using an analog phone was not really very nice. And the biggest problem was security. When we say security, we're talking about hacking your phone via airwaves and then cloning. So there are a lot of people during that time that complain when their billing comes in that they have made a lot of calls, but definitely they don't know these persons and they will always go queue in line in the customer service and telling I didn't make these calls. So that was the big throwback or really a big disadvantage using analog. So what happened was that in the 90s, the European Union or the European Technical Systems Institute or the ETSI, okay, Systems Institute of Europe, came about of reformatting or building a new standard. Now this was called GSM. Now, GSM came into the picture because people were tired of analog. All these problems from the Asia to Europe were very prevalent, especially in security. So with 2G became digital, security was better, voice calls was better, capacity was better, and then it came up with a very big killer application in which until now it's still being used. It's called SMS. Please remember, in the 1990s, the Philippines was known as the SMS capital of the world, not only of the Philippines or Asia, but the world. or something like 40 million SMSs a day. Okay, so that's how big SMS and how big it really carried the players during that time. Now in the 1990s, the time that I also finished college, during that era, there was a liberalization of telecoms, wherein PLDT had more competitors in terms of landline and mobile phones, even IGF. We had Islacom, we had Smart, we had Bayantel, and we have Globe Telecom. And still, Philtel and Extelcom were prevalent during that time. And there was another technology that came about, or a service that was being, which is also popular. It's called paging. But then, when SMS became a very, very dominant application, it practically drove away paging. So with one phone, with one device, you can already text what you want, and you don't need another service in order to send your messages. So that's what 2G gave us. But then, people are not really satisfied. Okay, voice is good, capacity is good, blah, blah, blah. But then, we would want to have a feature inside our phones which would make us more connected with the office, and that was data. Okay, so when the year 2000s came, especially with the rise of iPhone and all those smartphones, mobile broadband came into the picture. This was the time that a lot of applications were created. We're talking of Facebook, even Friendster. We're also talking of number one, YouTube, which was first in PC, then it actually became part of an application for mobile. And then we're talking of Instagram and taking of pictures. Sending pictures digitally was already part of the phone. So the phone became much more valuable. It almost equaled your PC. So you don't need to bring your PC every time. Once you're mobile and you have your phone, you can already have your own mobile office. So that's the development. So we need more data. That was the message. So in the year 2010 until now, okay, until now, we're still putting up LTE sites now, or 4G, which enhances our mobile broadband. And it's now purely IP based, because from 2G to 3G, there was already an integration, or a, um, a pathway of using less of the circuit switch going to packet switch, and eventually to internet protocol, which actually gave more um, applications and power, and also depth in terms of data for 4G. And now, recently, year 2000, year 2020, even though we have a pandemic, we were still able to cope up. Why? Because of connectivity. Okay. Now, as we roll out 5G right now, we are going to see the development in terms of industries, not only in terms of people, because from 1G to 4G, connectivity is based on people. Now for 5G, connectivity is now based even on sensors and industries. So we are going to be viewing at more industries coming into the digital divide. Okay? So enhanced mobile broadband for wireless industry is growing rapidly. So that's a very good message for 5G. Okay, we have been talking about wireless network, but then I would like to give you as a takeaway something that on the verge, or a tip on the iceberg, we'll try to define what is a wireless network. Of course, you have to have coverage. Okay, coverage is very simple to see. Once you have a mobile phone, those bars can tell you whether you have or you don't have coverage. Okay, so if you have more bars, you have 5 bars, of course you have better coverage. Then you have 2 or 3 bars, and that also affects the way you call or the way you browse nowadays. Second is capacity, which is very much affects the performance of the network. Yes, you have coverage. You can walk around the mall, you can go out, you can come into your house, you have coverage. But then, do you have enough capacity? That's where my company is also coming in. We're trying to build up infrastructure, or everybody's trying to improve their infrastructure in order to give better capacity. Capacity is actually like this. You have a phone, you're connected to a site, but then a lot of people on your area are also connected to the same single site. So what does it mean? It means that you're exhausting all the capacity of a single site. But if you have numerous sites around your village or around the city, then you won't be only connected to one site, you'll be connected to multiple sites. Okay? So that's the thing about capacity. If you have coverage but don't have capacity, you cannot make a call. Your quality is very bad, and then you can never. You'll only buffer once you're using data. And next is quality. Why does quality come in? Because you want a clear voice. You want no buffering, isn't it? Why? Why quality? Because we're working on multiple technologies and multiple frequencies given by the government. So that has a guarantee. It means to say that if the MNO or your operator or your ISP is licensed to get to deliver that service, they must be given the go signal by the government or by NTC that nobody is using their own bandwidth or their own frequencies. There are no illegal users, because if there are more illegal users going into the industry or going through the field, it means that the quality will be eaten up. You might have capacity, but then some are using illegally your bandwidth or your frequency channel. Therefore, there's also chance of their interfering the network itself. Okay, so remember these three: coverage, capacity, and quality equals a very good wireless network. Okay pa tayo? Can still follow?
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So next question is that why do we need 5G? Okay, we were talking just a while ago with Sir Charlie, Sir Fletcher, and Doms, and maybe Noni later once we go for a Q&A, that there are consumers and customers right now, okay? Or there are devices which are very rapidly being used in the network. So that's common. But what is important now is that industries and applications are becoming more and more active into the digital world. When we say digital world, you as an employee or as an employer or as a company owner can manage your business using your PC or using your mobile. You can virtually do things that doesn't need you to go to the office anymore. That's why we survived there. Diba? There are a lot of people, and also the MNOs or the telcos survived this because there were infrastructure in place, a little bit in place. We're not saying it's 100%, but then the infrastructure was at least in place for this digital divide. Okay? So that means that this network really needs an upgrade because there are a lot of people or a lot of new customers coming in. So you have to increase your capacity, your coverage, and your technology or your access network. That's why we need 5G. Okay? Just like traditional industries, we're talking of manufacturing, we're talking of vehicles, we're talking of Grab being driverless, we're talking of schools, we're talking of hospitals, even insurance companies who would use IoT in order for you, for example, no, you're in a car, you paid for your insurance, but then there was a time that 3 months later you cannot anymore pay your car. There are industries or there are banks that use a device inside the car, and once after 3 months you cannot pay, your car doesn't work anymore. It's happening. So that's what traditional industries are doing now. They're looking at using the leverage of digital transformation to improve their processes. So that involves, well, of course, gathering of a cloud or other technologies or other infrastructure in place, but still devices, traditional industries, applications would be moving to transform industries. Okay, okay, so what is now 5G? What does it really mean? On the technical part, there are two governing bodies. One is the International Telecommunications Union that causes IMT 2020. Now, their vision for 5G is actually a network that can give 20 gigabits per second. That's so fast. Right now, if you have a 1 gig or 2 gig movie, high definition movie that you can download, it takes you around 20 to 30 minutes right now in the current. Okay, even if in the LTE or somehow if you just have a 35 meg bandwidth, that's still something like a few 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if this 20 gigabits would happen, that's like seconds. Just like one eye blink and you have your movie playing simultaneously. Okay. And one more thing, it allows millimeter waves. When you say millimeter waves, it is something like the higher frequency. There are some advantages and disadvantages, but the biggest advantage of using higher frequency is that it can provide better capacity because it's not being used. We have 800 or 700 meg until 2 gig, which is now heavily used by the operators or all the operators around the world. So if we move our away from that, we are guaranteed better capacity, which is what data needs is more capacity. Okay. Now, one disadvantage is that if you have a higher frequency, your coverage shrinks. But if you can provide better infrastructure, more sites around, then that could also improve the coverage. Now, 3GPP is the European standard which makes use of all the research of mobile industries. This is also a licensing body. All the features, all the parameters involved in the network comes from 3GPP, and it's being given to all the OEM vendors to develop. Okay, so they call this 5G new radio, and it also includes 600 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. But then, if you move away from it, it might give you a better capacity. Now, eventually, they're also taking a look at 6 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. But then, 5G right now is being seen in the Philippines as 2.6 gigahertz to 3.5 gigahertz. That's where we will start because that's still manageable in terms of coverage. Higher than that, then we will be over. We will also be building so much infrastructure, which may not be very ideal for us. Okay, if you're gonna browse the internet right now or look what is 5G or what will it provide, it can provide this triangle. Okay, it starts with enhanced mobile broadband that guarantees 10 gigabits, goes to URLLC, which is ultra reliable and low latency communication. This will take care of industry automation, mission critical, and even self-driving cars, vehicle to vehicle X. And then on the part of Sir Charlie later on, once he explained, we're talking of massive machine type communications, wherein on a certain footprint, a lot of sensors will now communicate, will now be connected to the network and through the internet via this MMTC slice. These are the three slices or the three networks that is needed by 5G. Okay, you might be asking, nasa na ba tayo ngayon? Oh, we are now only using EMBB, which applications are being uh, are profiting or profit what we call this are being improved by this EMBB slice. We're talking of Netflix, we're talking of streaming, we're talking of Facebook, we're talking of YouTube, we're talking of a lot of features which involve video and also putting up data. Okay, so definitely your mobile phone once becomes 5G, you can watch everything, you can even play. Okay, or yung mahilig sa ML, those ML guys or using that application will be very much delighted because this year, going next year, EMBB will be here to be implemented. That is the first slice. The other slices, MMTC and URLC, will come at a time wherein it is already matured enough to be used in industries. Okay, so going back, let's just define it. For EMBB, the enhanced mobile broadband, we'll be seeing HD videos, virtual reality games, and augmented reality pictures that you can put certain designs and then you can send it over the internet. Okay. Then we have MMTC, massive machine types communications. Okay. These are be used for smart city and smart agriculture, IoT connectivity. And then URLLC, which the focus will be on latency sensitive services, and automated driving and remote management. Now, going back, what technologies are needed? We have millimeter waves. When we say millimeter waves, we're using at the spectrum of 6 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. This is the unused portion right now, which can provide capacity. Okay, so that's the biggest advantage of millimeter waves. Now, small cells. So, is 5G good to be put on top of a building or top of a tower? No, the answer is no. It will be good if we can put it on the middle or 10 meters below on the first landing of a tower or of a building, or simply putting it at a lamppost. So you will be seeing this year and towards for the next 2 years, small lampposts that are 5G capable. So those are what we call small cells. Okay. What other things are we going to experience in terms of antenna systems? Okay, beamforming is relatively going to be used for 5G. Why? Because the current 4G coverage right now is a very big loop or a very big footprint. Now you will share with that footprint. Whether you're a terminal, you're a phone, you're a PC, once you're connected to a data to the mobile broadband data, you will all share that common coverage. So those on the edge might not have the same coverage and capacity that you may get once you're nearby the site. So that's the problem with the current 4G. Okay, but in 5G, it will be very sharp, or it will actually reach you. The beam will be so long and so sharp that it will reach you per device basis. So the interference that you're creating would be more constructive. Okay. And the other thing that we're looking at is the multi-edge computing. This is already cloud. Okay. So IT will be definitely be part of a growth with 5G. This multi-edge computing. Okay. And then when we talk of types of communication or types, whether it's full duplex or half duplex, we're talking of full duplex in terms of a broadband, in terms of data. You cannot go full duplex in voice because you need to stop talking to hear your caller and start talking again once your caller stops talking. So it's always a give and take. Now in data, if we implement full duplex, you can go throughout. You can uh, you can send anything you want, isn't it? And it just go in a loop. So that's something that it can double the system throughput of conventional half duplex systems. Okay, this is applicable for data. It's not applicable for voice. Okay, okay pa? Kaya pa? Hello? Hindi pa nosebleed? Hello team?
Yes, kaya pa, sir.
Parang full speed.
Kaya pa,
Kaya pa,
kaya
kaya
pa,
pa.
kaya pa.
Nosebleed. Kasi some things I still really would like to do it in a more layman's term. So I'm putting more pictures, but I cannot escape the architecture. So we have a core, we have an access network, and we have a user equipment. So in reality, what does this mean? Okay, 5G core network actually uses mobile switch, your switch, a facility, and routers because it's already IP based, isn't it? So it's a combination of a mobile switch and router. Okay, that's what we call a core network. There is a big room or almost a data center that has a lot of routers and switch inside, and they take care of the data. Second, this is very familiar to everybody. It's called the cell site, but we call that in technical terms 5G access network or the cell site. You can see this in top of a building or in towers or even inside the building that we call an IBS and in building solution. Okay. And then of course the most important thing that you hold in your hand right now is your user equipment or your mobile phone. Even though we have so much of this infrastructure in place, if you don't have a phone or your phone is not capable of the latest access technology, then you can only use 2G or 3G. Then you're limited to that data space. So mobile phone will tell you whether you're on the latest trend or in the middle of the trend. Okay, so that's how simple it is. And then this is the more or less the technical part of the 5G core and the standard NG RAN, which is 3GPP. Okay, we have an access mobility management function, a user play function for the 5G core, and I would like to share to you what do we call the base station or your cell site base station, your motor or your the one creating that or creating that coverage inside that cell site. We call it for 2G, we call it base transceiver station. For 3G, we call it node B. For 4G, we call it enhanced node B. For 5G, the latest, we have the new generation node B and the new generation. Okay. So I would like to know in our team right now, do we have fresh graduates? Do we have fresh graduates here in the in the session, or all of us are already experienced in the field? Are we all experienced in the field, or are there new fresh graduates, or something like 4 years experience in the field right now, in the group? Hello, 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 team. Hello, hello.
Experience in what?
Experience, of course, in the industry. Meron ba fresh graduates who joined in? Hello, hello. Are there? Okay. Anyway, I'll just share to you. Anyway, we're recording this and we will send it out to more people later on. What are the skills we need for mobile communications? Of course, when you're in college or you're studying BSECE, you have to understand your wireless design fundamentals and your cellular network fundamentals. That's from the college curriculum. Now, second, once you enter the industry, you must have the following corporate trainings or competence. You have to have MS software or the Microsoft software competence of Excel, Access, Visual Basic, and Map Info. Now, there are other specialized tools used for planning, such as asset and then field measurement tools. These are the ones that go around using a car and using an antenna and try to measure and try to take a look at the user experience. We call this NEMO and TEMS. And then we have an in-building solution planning tool, which is called IBWay planning tool. These are special tools that are used by operators in order for them to build, optimize, and to plan well for their network. Okay. And then what are the opportunities in the RF industry? Of course, we have RF engineers, okay? We have solution architects, we have implementation engineering, we have IP, which is very much in demand, VAS, operations and maintenance engineers. Okay, as a summary, the cellular networks evolved because of subscriber needs. For now, it's still data. There will be more connected devices. That's why 5G is one important slice is the MMTC that will be connected 2020 onwards. That is IoT, which is going to be the next topic. Now, the network will also convert industry 5G network will convert big industries, manufacturing industries into digital industries themselves. So it's called what we call industrial IoT. Okay. Now, of course, the evolved network should be compatible going back, no, from 5G, 4G, and 3G. And then more and more cloud networks will come because of the need of 5G and other technologies and other applications coming up. And then now, 5G can deliver the solutions for these networks. So now, as a summary, we need 5G because of the development of industries coming in, not only the cellular industry, but other legacy industries who would want to become digital, who would want to work with their PCs and their mobiles in order to manage their process better. Okay? Can connect to more people and also tasks ahead. Okay, we have references, and then if you want to contact me, you can ask B-Boy or Fletcher or other questions that you may have. You may also contact me through my Gmail and to my other emails. So hopefully, we were able to meet our objective today of understanding what is 5G and how can it help us in this industry and other industries go forward with their digital transformation. Okay, thank you very much. And we can now open for Q&A before we start with the talk of Sir Charlie.
Okay.
So let's open the floor for some questions if you have, especially those who are new to cellular or would like to understand a little bit better of how does it work.
So,
Yeah,
Roy, who is ahead in setting up 5G infrastructure? Is it Globe or Smart?
they're both setting it up, eh. But then of course it's hype, di ba? Smart has something in in Makati and has something in Clark, while Globe has something in Manila, has a lot in BGC. But then there is a website called NPerf. You can take a look at that to tell you where are they in EDSA, where are they heading towards the provinces. But of course, Clark is something that both of them should share. It's a smart city. It's a very big smart city.
Okay. So, uh, how does it look like if 5G is implemented in the smart city setup? How does it function? How
Okay,
does it look like?
okay, it's like this, sir. No, if we're talking of mobile, if you're talking of mobile, once you come into a smart city, you will definitely receive welcome statements inside your mobile phone, whether it's Globe or Smart. Welcome to the smart city, and it will show you menus, what you can do once you're connected to either Globe or Smart. Then, of course, there might be freebies, so there will be more data. There will be more data welcoming and other services that can be seen once you have your 5G phone. That's the first thing. Second is that you will be notified that you're entering a 5G zone. Okay. And you can enjoy the pleasures being a subscriber of Global Smart. You can browse through this and you can take a look if there are new happenings or there are new food stuff. You would like to do that. So there will be no more notifications and your data throughput will be faster. If you're going to watch a movie or stream, it will be faster in a 5G smart city. And if you have a business or you have something that you would like to take, for example, your house has IoT, you can monitor it from there faster. So that's the
Okay.
thing that you will understand. So definitely, if you're coming from 4G going to 5G coverage, notification plus advertisement and plus speed will be on your way. That will be the difference.
Okay. So you're talking about this will go beyond the cellular and other industries, other machines will be communicating. So what are the
Yes.
example of those
No,
machines
when
communicating?
machines communicating will be, for example, no, if you're going to the industry, their bus system, it's called a bus system. It's an IoT bus. Once it gets enhanced, you will see it automatically on your mobile phone. If you have a process, you will see definitely your output. You will take a look at the performance. If there is something wrong, once you have that application, it will communicate directly. The machine will communicate directly with your phone. It will send a notification. So that's improving your performance. You can actually see where your delivery or your logistics are, or is there something wrong with the system, or even your house. If you have a smart house, you will find out if there are people inside or there are intruder or something, or security will be enhanced. So that's something that machines or sensors will be communicating with your phone.
Wow. Thank you,
Yes.
Roy.
Sir Charlie will explain more of that because he's into the sensors.
Roy, Fletcher here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Fletch.
How long do you think would be the networks or the networks to be fully 5G FR2? Because I understand it's only going for FR1, right?
Yeah. Okay, Pledge, let's go this through the timeline of 3GPP, no? For this one, EMBB will start be rolling out this one, FR1, okay, this year. Now, towards quarter two, the other slice, the MMTC will come in. That's going to be for 2022.
Mm.
Now, for 2023, the last slice, which will be vehicle to vehicle, we're looking at that because you want to drive, you want your vehicle to drive wirelessly,
Yeah.
di ba?
Mm.
So that's already 2023. For ideally for the next 3 years, FR2 will happen in 3 years, but that depends on our needs. Eh. We
Mm.
might have the complete slices by 2023, 2024. But then, is our industry ready? Are they already digitalized? Or
Oh,
is there a capital venture that will start this industry in the Philippines? That
okay.
is the big question.
So the next question will be, when do you think will be NB-IoT will be included, or is it already included now?
Actually, it's included with LTE. The only thing, Fletch, is that what application or is there an industry here that will spearhead NB-IoT? Because NB-IoT is part of LTE bandwidth.
Mm.
It's inside that. So it's already there. The only thing is that who will use it and what application is really going to use NB-IoT. Because right now, no, we have two. Wi-Fi can take care of IoT, which is very much being rolled out.
Yeah.
Now, NB-IoT is the answer to Wi-Fi for IoT, but will Globe be willing or Smart be willing to put somewhere in
Okay.
an industry near that, which will benefit?
Mm. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, that's true. It's already there. It's LTE.
Okay, thanks. Roy, we have a question here in the chat box from Jansen Surbano.
Yes, yes.
Good afternoon. There are concerns among the laypersons regarding the health hazard of using 5G
Great.
technology. How true? How true is this?
Very good, very good. Later on, maybe I will pass some documentation on this one because definitely it's a hoax. Doms and team, since the
Yeah.
start of the 1980s or the 1990s, a lot of people have been always questioning this. But then we're already almost 30 years or 40 years with this technology, including everything of wireless. Did you see anybody dying in half of the population of Europe dying because of cancer? Nobody has ever reported that, isn't it? Nobody has ever claimed or went to the hospital in UK or in Europe telling them that I'm dying because of cancer because of radio waves. No, because radiation is a fact of life. The only thing is that DOH here in the Philippines issues a permit for that. It's part of the permitting here, even in broadcasting or anything wireless that creates radiation. DOH is obliged to give a certification whether it's safe or not. So definitely, all of this they're trying to pressure the mobile industry to give money to these people. It's some sort of a of a money thing. Oh, I think Sir Charlie is raising a hand. Does he has a question? Sir Charlie,
No, no, I'd like to add to that.
yeah.
Ako mas simple yung kwento ko diyan eh. So imagine you are in a concert, okay? You are in a concert and you have people on stage. And for the people on stage to be heard, what do they use? They use a sound system with huge speakers all over. Okay? At the very least, huge speakers in front, di ba? So, and ano yan, gagawin natin analogy. Yung speakers, yun yung cell site. Yung tenga, yun yung nagre-receive ng signals, which is your cell phone. Okay? Now, how can the people in the stage hear you? You have to shout very, very loud in order for them to hear you, di ba? So, kung merong katapat kang nag-attend nung concert, hindi ba mabibingi siya pag sumigaw ka? So, think of that as far as cell sites and cell phones are concerned. Eh yung cellphone mo nakatapat sa tenga mo, hindi ba? So mas malakas yung radiation nung cellphone sa tenga mo papuntang cell site kesa from the cell site going back to you. So think of it that way. So nakakatawa. In the Philippines, do you know where the worst cellular signal is? Does anybody know where it is? Yung pinakamaraming dead spot sa sa Maynila? Can anybody guess?
Saan po, sir?
Mga villages, subdivision.
Sis,
Which ones? Which
The high
villages?
the very, very high end.
Yes. Yung Forbes, yung Dasma.
Correct.
Alam niyo ba kung
Ayaw
bakit?
talaga magpatayo niya.
Ayaw magpatayo ng cell site. And yet, they do not understand that the cell phones that they're using are emitting so much power in order to reach the cell sites that are so far away. Just imagine. Can you think about that? So
Correct.
ganun lang. That's and then I rest my case.
Correct. Actually, to
Yeah.
add to that, high-end subdivisions such as Valle Verde and these guys, they don't really want, but then they complain a lot that they don't receive proper service. That's the sad point. And we always go there, tell them that you need to put up something, and said, no, we don't want it, but they want service. That's the irony of things.
Roy, can I also add?
Yes, sir.
Because I've been teaching this for many years already. If you really study about radiation, there are two types of radiation:
Yeah.
ionizing and non-ionizing.
Correct.
So the only thing that will cause cancer is gamma ray and X-ray.
Correct.
So I don't know why people are very scared.
Yeah, because those two things, those gamma rays and X-rays, penetrate the body, the cellular part of the body, the tissues. The radiation coming from a cell site or from a mobile phone is less than 1 watt. What can you get
Yeah.
out of 1 watt? I don't know, man.
Okay.
Okay. So, do we have other questions?
Yes, please, so that we can hear already from IoT la.
Yeah, so if there are no more questions right now,
I think there's one from Lito.
ayan, sige. Si Lito Caballero has a question.
Yeah.
Any update on the third telco? How do you, so medyo hindi na to 5G question, no? Pero how do you assess the performance of the ICT headed by by Secretary Onasan?
Okay. Let's answer that because it's also a relevant question. Okay, we all know that Senator Honasan is taken over from General Rio. Now, General Rio was very good in terms of telecommunications because he has experienced that hands-on, while Senator Honasan has been with the governance for some time. But definitely, they have already laid down the foundations of what to do and how to improve the network. So that's one. That's why they were very much into the common tower part to invest more on the facilities or the infrastructure. Second, for the third telco, they're moving. Actually, they're going for their audit, their first audit. This will determine whether they have met their speed. In whatever size that they have right now, they'll be measured by their internal coverage and then also the speed. If they pass that, then they'll have 25 years more of their provisional authority. But I think they will pass because we need it. We really need a new player so that it could help us on the pricing mode. So it will lower it will lower the telco prices further, and that's the objective of having a third telco. And hopefully they would perform well under promises, although it's very capital intensive. But it's also good for business because it will generate more employment for us. Okay, so that hopefully that will answer the question of Lito.
Okay. The other question of Lito actually is this. For ordinary subscribers like me, the concern is access, speed, yan. Yun yung access speed, performance, affordability. So how affordable and how good is 5G? Roy.
Right now, for those tariff, for the tariff, operators will have to take a look because for right now, 5G is going to be implemented in hotspots. It's not going to be implemented in the whole Philippines yet. is going to be on areas wherein traffic is high for data. Oh, we're talking of Makati, we're talking of CBDs, we're talking maybe of BGC, these high-end cities. That will be the first target. You won't put 5G on. So when you're targeting those high-end, it will still be the same with LTE. They cannot go beyond the price of LTE. But then, if the usage will go up, definitely, and the third telco will come in, so we will see a uh, a lowering of prices. Maybe 1 or 2 pesos, or maybe 5 pesos would go down. So that's my prediction, personal prediction. But definitely, it will start with data intensive areas. It will not be covering the whole Philippines in one click. Capable, yes, but turning it on means there must be data subscribers willing to pay for that price in that area, and the usage should be high. That's my take.
Okay. So, hope that answers your question, Lito. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. So, in case you do have questions, you can put it in the chat box. So Roy can also still answer later on. So for now, in behalf of the Don Bosco Mandaluyong Alumni Association, headed by Engineer Fletcher Aquino, we would like to thank uh, Roy Prado for this very enlightening presentation today about 5G. And we hope that the audience today will have a little bit more appreciation of the technology. Okay? Thank you very much, Roy.
Thank you guys, and hope to see you soon in another.
5. So medyo mahaba-haba din ang resume ng ating speaker, but suffice it to say that he is one of our leading lights in the telecom industry and in business in general. He's also a book author, by the way. So his book, Friends Are Not Equal to Business Partners, is still available in bookstores. But let's let him tell you more about this. Friends, fellow Bosconians, please welcome to talk about IoT. Please welcome Mr. Charlie Fernando.
Hi everyone. So let me do my presentation now. Here you go. Can you see my screen? Not sure.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Meron na?
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yes, we can see Charlie. We can see.
Yeah, meron.
Okay, so wait lang. Oh, there you go. So naka-presentation mode na ba ako?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my topic, understanding IoT for the new decade, and sige, as the old saying goes, you accelerate in the corners and not on the straights. And this was certainly true regarding IoT in 2020. So as it becomes clear that the pandemic has accelerated many of these trends. So the reason is twofold. Firstly, a general business slowdown puts enormous pressure on enterprises to reduce cost and increase customer delivered value. IoT does both of those things. And secondly, smaller but more nimble companies, hopefully such as ClickLogic, will be able to fund some IoT projects. And I will see if I can do justice to the technology. But before that, let's change it a bit. Let's do an icebreaker. Masyadong seryoso kanina si Roy eh. So, yung talk ko ngayon, it will be simpler, it will be easier to understand, not as techy as Roy, but I hope that the techies and not so techies can appreciate what I'm going to do. But for now, let's do something different. Say something about yourself, put it in the chat box, and whoever has the craziest answer wins this book. Friends are not business partners. Put it in the chat box. My assistant, executive assistant Pinky will take care of that. Pinky, so paki-monitor mo na lang. So,
Okay.
siguro in my case, about me, I was table tennis enthusiast when I was in high school. Pero now, hindi na masyado, medyo matanda na ng konti. What do I use? I use this electric fly swatter kasi sometimes there are flies in the office and I use it as my racket. So that is one thing I can share. So guys, if you have a few if you have a few seconds to spare, put it in the chat box and then you win my book. Meron na ba? Agala.
You currently have two, Charlie. Charlie, ano rin to,
Okay.
di ba? Autograph, di ba?
Pwede, syempre. O
Mm-mm.
autograph natin, di ba?
Mas mataas yung value kasi pag may autograph ni Charlie Fernando.
Wala. Walang dagdag, hindi mabebenta yan.
Friends, I have an autographed copy. I'm putting it inside the vault. May valuable yun eh.
Wag ka maniniwala dyan. So, are we okay, Pinky? Can we move on?
Yes, but we will announce the winner na lang later.
Oh, sure. Okay. So let me move ahead with my presentation. So, let us start with Pocketworks. So, Pocketworks is a leading IoT company in the Philippines. So disclosure, I have a teeny-weeny investment in Pocketworks. So, So that's it for the intro video. So kung pinag-uusapan natin kanina with Roy, 5G, pabilisan ng bandwidth, pabilisan ng download. Yung main difference with IoT is ito on-off lang, masyadong maigsi, masyadong konti yung bandwidth. So that's how simple it is. And if your bandwidth is so low, then you can increase the range. So pwedeng mabato yung data in a far longer. So ito, in this case, abot ng 50 kilometers. And the battery life is also affected, which means battery, you can save so much on battery life. So, the biggest problem right now with internet is that the internet is really mainly for people. Now, IoT does connect things. So, ganun lang ka-basic yan. Problema with the current internet of people setup, it has short battery life. Do you remember that time when the phones were yung mga Nokia na phones, tumatagalan 3-4 na araw bago ka mag-charge, di ba? So, connectivity is also very expensive. And okay, atras ako ng konti. For the installation of devices, in order for you to monitor a device, you need a complex sensor and you need to wire it, and you still need processing. With IoT, you simplify everything. I'll give you more practical examples later. Why am I talking about IoT right now? Baka naman mabawasan yung kikitain ng Clicks Logic kapag tinuruan ko kayo lahat tungkol sa IoT. But the IoT business is so huge. Ang laki-laki ng pie, ang dami-daming pwedeng gawin, ang daming pwedeng pagkakitaan. So those people who are looking at a new tech business, it is time to look at IoT very, very seriously. Ang laki ng potential, it is already starting to happen, even in the Philippines. Let me give you a simple IoT IoT setup. So at home, so this is what I have at home. I have a lock. Tapos, what happens is, well, I stay in a subdivision na medyo magandang security. So the kids, they are just so secured about the place. Wala kaming front gate. So we just have the main door sa bahay. So what do? They just close the door and they don't lock it. Eh ako paranoid. So 2 years ago, I got this device from the States. It's called August. I think it's available now in Lazada. August lock. So it's a deadbolt. So I installed that deadbolt, and from the screens you see that I'm using it right now. Nakakabit sa casa Fernando. So the front door, the red means the door is closed. The green means somebody opened it, and I will be able to find out who opened it or not. So that is one practical example. So there are 4 batteries inside the August lock itself, and the batteries last for 6 months. So walang masyadong wiring, kinabit mo lang yung deadbolt lock, and that's it. You do very, very simple programming. So that's one very simple setup for the house. Internet of Things for the house. I'll give you another one. Show you. So this is now what I have in my bedroom. It's a small device, the one on the left. Tapos, I have my app that I installed in my phone, and I can turn on or off the bedroom AC. I can change the temperature. I can make it quiet. And as soon as I get home, or when I'm near the house, the aircon turns on. When I leave the house, the aircon turns off. So take a look at the graph on the right. So just a very simple smart home setups. So yung mga naririnig yung smart home, those are already IoT enabled houses. Okay, ito na tayo. Let's talk about equipment monitoring. Let's talk about the vaccine. Ano bang vaccine yung dapat negative 70 degrees Celsius? Yung Pfizer. How do you do that? Coming from the Pfizer factory or laboratory, you have to maintain the temperature for 70 degrees, negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit, all the way until before you inject the vaccine. So how do you do that? You can have an IoT device in the box where the vaccine, the small box where the vaccine is placed. You can have a monitoring device on the crates. You can have another monitoring device on the vans, on the container vans. And take a look at how small a PacketWorks monitoring device is. Kalahati lang yata nung butter. And this is wireless, and this will work for a few years. So you'll have something a little bit bigger if you want to have GPS and if you want it solar powered. So wherever the box or the container van goes, you will ensure that the vaccine gets monitored. So just something very, very practical, lalo na ngayon. Pag-asa is using some of our devices already for frost monitoring, for weather monitoring. Yung mga ganyan dati, I used to install weather monitoring devices in my previous life. I think around 30 years ago. I went to Thailand, I went to Myanmar, I even went to Saudi Arabia, and to install these things would take weeks. Just imagine how small this is right now. Isang pole lang. So, and everything is using a battery that will last for years. Is amin, ang laki pa ng solar panel. Ito, I think, yeah, this one has a small solar panel on it. Yung, nung pumutok yung taal, we installed a few air quality monitoring sensors in Metro Manila, and we saw how bad the air quality in Metro Manila went to. And we were able to see the difference. Yun. We are about to have a project with ano ba to? MWSS ba o Manila Water? Hindi ko na alam. So we will convert some of the water metering systems into IoT. What does that mean? Hindi mo na kailangan ng lumalapit. Right now kasi medyo Bluetooth yata yung solution ni Manila Water eh. Manila Water, Maynilad. Bluetooth. So lumalapit siya dun sa water meter. The handheld device nung meter reader catches the information and may printer siya. In this case, the water meter, nobody needs to go near the water meter. Guys, if you have questions, just say so. Ask me. Next, room temperature monitoring. Yan, meron din. Small device. What we're doing right now is having room temperature monitoring. We also monitor how much the aircon is how much power the aircon is consuming, and then from there we will find out whether there is a need to fix the aircon for maintenance. Next. So, bibigyan ko kayo ng rundown ng mga applications so that you can more or less see how ubiquitous IoT will become in the next few years. So this one is for equipment monitoring. May kasama din siyang smoke detector. Meron din siyang kasamang door sensor. Again, this is for an electrical installation. You have the humidity, you have the current clamps. Let's talk about smart building applications naman. So, in a whole building, you will be able, if you put IoT all over, you will know how much energy you are consuming, maybe per floor or per office, almost in real time. You can install IoT devices and do predictive maintenance on all your assets. You can have gas leak detectors. You will know how many people there are at any one time. One project that ClicksLogic is working on is Uvc Iot. So, syempre, everybody knows what the UVC is for. So, yung UVC is being used to sanitize the buildings because of COVID, di ba? But what if you have a whole building? Kawawa naman yung mga tao naglilipat-lipat ng mga UVC lamps, di ba? But what if you are to have it installed permanently? Have a way to check if there's motion, and then if there's motion, you shut it off. As soon as people have left the vicinity, you can turn it on. You can have a management system that will tell you that the offices or the floors have been sanitized, and you will know which lamps or whether lamps need to be changed already after so many hours of operation. So these are smart building applications that we can now use. So in fact, we have a big project in Cebu wherein we are putting up 600 lamps right now. And I'm really putting a lot of time and effort in promoting our Uvc Iot solution. We will soon launch a video. We will promote in LinkedIn most probably. And the brand name for our IoT-enabled UVC solution is called AdCare. So watch out. Let's talk about some smart city applications. You can have an embedded sensor in the parking lot so that you don't need somebody like a parking attendant to check whether you need to whether you need to pay or not. So you can have the weather alerts, you can have intelligent highways, and real-time monitoring on whether the bridge is about to fall or whether traffic is getting bad in a particular place. So this is installed in some parts of Metro Manila. Just take a look at the flood monitoring system. Look at how small it is. If for you guys going to Marikina, makikita nyo kung gaano kalaki yung flood monitoring system. I think that was donated by the Japanese embassy. This is the flood monitoring system that we have right now. And the water level monitoring, take a look on the left, it's just a pressure sensor. Oh, ito. I think this was used last year during the Feast of the Black Nazarene. So we had a device doon sa cross so that we know where it is traveling. Let's now go to industrial IoT, which is where I'm putting a lot of effort in my research. So just imagine for motor monitoring. So if you have a factory with so many hundred motors, the biggest issue is when the motor breaks down. So what happens when motors break down? Titirik yung factory mo. What the engineers usually do, the facilities people, what they do is they have preventive maintenance, like let's say 4 times a year or 3 times a year, depending on the historical data. But what if you have something like a stethoscope na nakatutok sa bawat isang motor? Just imagine, 24/7, the stethoscope will tell you that something is about to happen, na tumataas yung temperature, na bumababa yung yung magnetic flux, that the vibration is becoming stronger. So with IoT, you have a stethoscope with IoT that constantly monitors the status of the motor. And then you can put it in a dashboard so that you see all the data. You will see when to do the actual maintenance. So this is the device. The cylinder is something like only 3 inches tall by 1 inch in diameter. And you just need to attach it mechanically to the motor. Wala nang gagawin. Let me talk about PocketWorks. It's a social enterprise, and I think a lot of the Bosconians have taken advantage of going to PocketWorks, and we have the IoT technology hub somewhere in Pasig. So we want as many engineers or techs or even entrepreneurs to take a look at what PocketWorks has. And here, that guy on the left, that's the CEO of PocketWorks. I really do hope we go into an IPO in the next few years. And I really want the Philippines to be the next IoT capital of the world. Kung baga tayo naging texting capital of the world, gumagastos, pwede naman tayo siguro na next IoT capital of the world na mag-i-invest yung mga tao dito. Because we have a lot of engineers, we have a lot of good engineers, lalo na yung mga taga-Busco ngayon. Before, when I started ClicksLogic, I couldn't afford Busconians. Bakit? Kasi ang mamahal nyo eh. Problema ko yun eh. Kasi ClicksLogic started 15 years ago as a service center of UPS. Buti sana kung malalaking UPS. Katulad ng inaayos ni Mr. Bobot Morales, shout out. Andiyan ka pa ba hanggang ngayon? Nakita kita kanina. So, Mr. Morales is with a UPS company. A big UPS company. Kami, we started with fixing the small units. Yung mga 500 VA, yung mga tinatapon na after the warranty period. But we were able to make a business out of it. And now, we have transcended. We're not just fixing UPSs, although meron pa rin, but we're doing a lot more high-tech solutions. So maybe I can start hiring Bosconians in my office, although going to PocketWorks is good too. Mas malapit sa inyo yun. So yeah, let me go to another topic. So ito, para kumita yung mga taga Busco na gustong kumita ng pera. So, just a few days ago, I think nagkaroon ng earthquake sa Davao. I think 7.1 yung magnitude. So, ano papel ko dyan? Nagtitinda ako ng equipment ng seismic accelegraph. So, we're doing quite well in Manila. So we have a great system. We get it from Taiwan. We have this installed in 3,500 locations in Taiwan. So we are the exclusive distributors in the Philippines. We have this on stock. And I want to talk to the enterprising guys here who have connections with the building officials, for example, with the building owners, kasi yung mga existing condominiums and buildings and high-rise buildings need this already. We also want to talk to the construction companies. So those who want to resell or not even resell, mag-aahente para may konting pagkakakitaan, just get in touch with us. and we are happy to have business with you. In fact, I'm talking to a former classmate who's based in Cebu, and he will be reselling our solutions. Ano pa ba? Meron pa ba? Okay, game time. So I have a few more books to give away. So just answer my questions on the chat box, Pinky. Just tell me once there is somebody who won the who won it already, huh? Okay.
How about the first one, the icebreaker for the question? We have a winner already.
I'm not sure. Anyway, let's see. So we do have a winner. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, yes. The craziest
Okay,
answer. Can I say it
Sige.
na? The craziest answer came from, yeah?
Yeah.
The craziest answer came from Mr. Noni Lanes. Did I pronounce it correctly? Noni Lanes?
Lianes.
Lanes. Okay, so anyway,
Yes.
he's funny with an attitude. The answer, he answered something about myself. There, I said it. I win the book. So Charlie wins. Mr. Lanes wins the book.
Okay. So this is another set of questions. Okay, number one. What is the name of my company?
Ako, apakahirap niyan, Charlie.
We have a winner, Rodney Dayaw.
Okay. And what does IoT connect? Pabilisan ng typing dito, ha?
I know, Charlie. Ang dami. Things.
The winner is Mr. Joel. We have a winner,
Okay.
Mr. Joel Ayala.
Okay. Next. And what? Name at least one IoT solution. Yan.
Okay, we have a winner, Mr. Fletch Aquino. He answered
Daya
flood.
mo ah. Teka muna. Daya.
Hindi kasali yung president.
Ano ba?
Pagbigyan, Charlie, hindi man yung libro mo. Pagbigyan.
Ganun. Sige na. Okay, one more. Name at least one smart city example. Ibig sabihin, hindi Clark, ibig sabihin application.
Nazareno.
We have a winner, Mr. Johnson Zurbano, parking.
Okay. And I think last but not the least, so name at least one equipment problem that IoT can solve. Nahirapan ba? Ang tagal sumagot ah. Hindi nakikinig.
Nawala yata si Pinky. Pinky, are you there?
But did somebody...
Yes,
But
there are
somebody, answer
certain
already?
answers here.
Okay.
Motor vibration,
Okay.
temperature problem.
Okay, so let's just see later. Anyway, so I think that's the end of my slide. Yes, thank you. Guys, you have any questions?
There's a question from Jansen Zurbano. Good evening, Sir Charlie. Do we already have a technology which will act like a neurotransmitter wherein a device is connected to your head and there is no need to input by the use of hands or voice to the computers or device? And if yes, how mature is it? And how long can it be accessible to common people? Medyo mahaba yung tanong.
Wala yata sa realm ng IoT yan eh. But then, well, I've read a lot of research. Meron na ako nakikita. Is it it's still in research. What I've seen lately was not a neurotransmitter, but a parang brainwave sensor that parang teaches you how to relax better. Parang it teaches you how to get smarter somehow. But neurotransmitters parang wala pa akong nakikita. Unless the tech guys here have something newer to something more to say about it.
There's a question regarding Packetworks from Roy Prado. Charlie, can we train at Packetworks? Can we train daw at Packetworks?
Yes, there is training available at Packetworks. So just get in touch with Arnold.
Did mention about sensing the conditions of electrical motors in the industrial complex. So I wonder if this can be applied also to power substation transformers and welders or welding things in industry to monitor their conditions, whether insulation breakdown or temperature rise, etc. Because this is part of what I do in audit and inspection for regular maintenance work. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Actually, that is a very simple setup. You just need a single sensor. You can have a single sensor per transformer. You can have it, well, if it's a substation, then you can just mechanically connect it to the transformer and that's it. You can work on it easily. We can even do a trial if you want.
I'm sorry, there are feedbacks. Could not hear much.
We can do a trial. So we can, let's talk about this privately. Yes, it can be.
Okay. How about the inside, like the oil conditions inside the power substation transformers?
You just teach me how I can put a sensor or tell me what kind of sensor we need and we will design the device for you.
Okay, this might need longer talk between you and me.
So you see how easy it is. So it's so easy to monitor the basic parameters as long as you have, let's say, something to measure, and if the parameter is not then data intensive. Data intensive means streaming video. Streaming video is data intensive. But let's say temperature changes, that is not data intensive. On and off is not data intensive. So that is how you distinguish IoT from other ways to communicate.
Do you consider the smart grid from solar, like Meralco has a smart meters right now, monitoring the on-grid and off-grid connections?
Yes, that can be done. Ang ginagawa ko lang right now is that it's so nice to talk to a big company, to talk about thousands or millions of devices, but sometimes when you are not a US brand, when you are a local brand, you want to start the business as simple as possible. Isa, dalawa, 10, 100. Pero when companies such as Meralco want to talk to you, they want to talk to you when there is a foreign partner behind you. In fact, we have a project with a bank. 50, we started monitoring their 50 branches for power, for air quality, for temperature. And who did they talk to? They talked to a foreign company that talked to Packetworks to implement the solution. Ano ba naman na Packetworks dumiretso or Clicks Logic dumiretso do sa bangko na yun? But that's how it is, unfortunately. Yun. But again, magaling tayo. That's why we are being tapped by the foreign companies to perform work for them. In fact, we are working with a gas station company to monitor the fuel consumption per pump. Kasi yung mga gas stations na yan, minsan bibili from another source. Let's say smuggled source. So, hindi alam ng mother company how many liters they've sold so much, but they haven't really ordered so much from the manufacturer fuel supplier itself. So, little things. So, again, a foreign company is talking to us to do that, but and then we design the solution, we are about to implement it. So, it is sad, but I think that's how things are happening right now.
Okay, thank you for the info.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir Charlie, Noni Lian is here.
Yeah.
Very interesting talk. You and Roy, I think, did very well today. Thank you very much for that. And thank you also to Miss Pinky for finding humor in my reply. Normally, humor doesn't translate well on chat, but obviously it did. So thanks a lot for that. No, I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit. So I run a software development company doing bespoke development and software as a service. And so we have a solution for buildings, no? So it's basically kind of like a digital transformation for real estate management. So we automate yung communications between homeowners and property managers. So some of your solutions are very interesting, and I was hoping that maybe we can get together and find out whether we can have synergy among us.
Sure.
I'm very interested in your seismic
Accelerogram.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Seismic sensor, and also perhaps if you have solutions for access control, safety and security, things like those, we would be very, very glad to integrate them with our solution and provide more value to our customers.
I'll give you a very simple solution. There are a lot of real estate companies that have properties that are ano tawag nito? Ano tawag nito? Yung foreclosed, di ba? So how do this companies know if somebody has broken into the foreclosed property?
Right.
We can just put a sensor.
Yep.
Hindi
Motion
ba?
detector.
Not even ang motion detector mas high-tech pa yan eh. Pero on and off lang, nagbukas yung pinto, alarm ka kagad. So ang usually sa foreclosed properties, may tagabantay ka, hindi ba? Yun. In this case, hindi mo na kailangan ng tagabantay.
Right.
So these are little things, di ba? You don't need, so magkano lang yan? 5,000-10,000 peso device.
Yep.
Tapos ang connectivity mo, mga less than 1,000 pesos a year for connectivity. Just imagine the potential. Yun.
Yep.
So I just thought about that solution right now.
Well, one of the things that we do for safety and security is that kasi right now, paper-based pa yung kanilang security, di ba? So nagla-log in ng visitors when you go inside the building. So it's so difficult to find out how many visitors are in a particular building at any given time. So we kind of automated that with the visitor management system. But what it lacks currently to be very frank, is an access control system. So our vision is, where you will have access control where, visitors would have their IDs and they access for example, the elevators using the IDs by swiping it. And then they're only allowed in certain floors.
Areas, yes.
Kanyari, you're a visitor of the 24th floor, this unit 2401, for instance. So dun ka lang. If you go to another floor, something will trigger and the security people will be alarmed.
Yeah.
Diba? So something like that. We're looking for
Yeah.
solutions like that.
Yep, we can talk.
Yeah, let's do that, sir. Sounds good. And I'm
Yeah.
also looking forward to receiving your book.
Sure. Okay. Anyway, anything else, guys?
There's a question here in the chat box, Charlie, from Fernando Morales, your friend. If you have a number of sensors in a building, does the data it transmit go to a data collector or aggregator first and processed on site before sending it to the cloud or remote monitoring centers?
Okay, the usual, Bobot, the usual is that you have what you call a gateway. So from the building, you have gateways, or a gateway or several gateways that will send it to the cloud. You can also do local processing, but if you, for simplicity's sake, you bring it to the cloud kagad para mas simple yung yung solution.
Okay, I hope that answers the question. From Armand De La Guerra, Sir Charlie, the IoT is very useful in commercial building. How can we explore more with regards your product on your product or company profile? Okay, see Pinky, your EA Pinky actually answered this on the chat box. So guys, contact me, Charlie. The Clicks Logic, it's also there in the chat box. See Pinky has actually put it down there. Tapos, for those of you guys who want the book of Charlie, please get in touch with either B-Boy Laura or Fletcher Aquino, or type in the chat box right now your contact details so we can make arrangements for you to get your book. Friends are not business partners from Mr. Charlie Fernando. All right, so thank you. Okay, the chat box is still open for your questions, but before we proceed, let me just remind everyone that day 3 of this webinar series is not going to be next week, because next week we're going to have our Don Bosco Mandaluyong Alumni Homecoming. February 6th is our next webinar series, and it's going to be via Google Meet again, and the topics are safety and risks in this challenging pandemic world, and also putting up safety nets, current and potential new challenges in terms of safety and risks. So that's going to be on February 6th, and then on February 13th, it's going to be digital transformation, the changing landscape, as well as Bosconians in the semiconductor industry, skill sets and competition, or being competitive. So that's on February 13th. Okay, so are there any more?
Doms, Fletcher here.
Yes, Fletch.
Hindi natin na-announce sa kanila that we are actually giving away a Don Bosco Seiko watch.
Yeah.
But the watch is not available until the production run, kasi we are relaunching it on Saturday.
Fletch, this is the Seiko watch is in commemoration of the 500th anniversary.
Napalitan na dahil last year natin ni-launch. Unfortunately, the COVID, medyo nahirapan tayong mag-meet ng quota. May quota kasi yun eh.
Right.
Anyway, I'd just like to take this opportunity. Maybe you have seen the announcement already. We're having a virtual homecoming on Saturday, but it is not the full homecoming. It's the alumni R and alumni mass. So the celebration of the Silver Jubilarians will still be as earlier communicated in August pa yung kanilang celebration since wala ang face-to-face na magaganap. So we are just moving ahead with the alumni mass and the alumni art for this time. Yeah. Hopefully magkaroon ng face-to-face. I'm not sure kung how does it look like in August. Sige, Doms.
All right. Thanks, Fletch. Okay. Thank you for your questions. Just to read some of the kudos here. Great session this afternoon from Arnel de Malanta. So thanks, Roy and Charlie. I agree. Joel Rayala, awesome session and discussion, Sir Roy and Sir Charlie. Ronaldo Laura, may mga nakaset up at functioning na ba na IoT sa DBTC?
Yan yata pinag-usapan natin kanina eh. I think naka-set up na tayo eh.
Yes, again, it's Fletcher, no? We already had this partnership with Packetworks. We had that in October 2019. And meron kami supposed to be na hackathon and a project with the school. Unfortunately, the COVID happened. But I'm discussing with Dr. May, who's the Dean of College. And actually, pwede pa naman siyang ituloy kasi we can still access the network via online. Yeah. So let's see how things will work out. So nandun na yung network, the LoRaWAN transmitter, receiver, but syempre hindi naman nakakapasok yung mga bata. We're supposed to have some, yung sinabi nga ni Sir Charlie, we'd like to monitor power consumption, temperature in the rooms, may konting flood sa quadrangle. We also want to, once the flood arises, magtatakbo yung isang motor to pump out the water. So yun yung sana yung mga projects at that time. Anyway, we'll update everyone if this will pursue.
Sir Dominic, can I have one question with Sir Charlie?
Sure, Johnson, go ahead.
Thank you. Right now, we are in a pandemic and most of the people are working from home. And during the disaster, we need to deploy equipment, especially IT assets or computers, to people to be able to work from home. With that said, is there a somewhat kind of a sensor that can be put in the door that will act as well as a scanner to monitor all IT assets going out and going in? Because right now it's... Yes, sir. Thank you.
Actually, yes. There are several ways to do it. Mga RF tags. Yun, yung mga ginagamit dun sa NLEX, SLEX, similar, pero lower power, kinakabit sa mga IT assets. So we're discussing with that with one of the BPOs. Mga BPOs kasi, nakakatawa, bawal ilipat yung laptop from one floor to the other. Would you believe that? Just imagine, if this BPO has several buildings in the country, bawal yun. It's a customs violation. So yung mga ganyang klaseng issue. So it's being done. We're working on it, and it is feasible already. Yun.
Thank you, Sir Charlie. Maybe we can, our company can contact you in a private message. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so yun. The contact details of Charlie and ClicksLogic, si Pinky already placed here on the chat box. So, ayan, moving on to our messages here in the chat box. Roy Prado says, thank you, team. See you soon. Fernando Morales says, thanks for a great session, Roy and Charlie. May I have the number of Sir Fletcher Aquino? Fletch, Pinky is asking. Maybe you can PM her.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Thank you for the speakers and organizers from Jansen. Thank you, Jansen, for being here. Okay. Fletch, sino ba yung qualified manalo ng Seiko Watch?
Lahat ng mga nag-register. So we'll raffle that off on the last day.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the last day, okay. So not necessarily kailangan ma-complete yung 4, no? Basta
Mahirap
nag-attend kayo, no? Oo, mahirap, no? Oo. Sayang. In the running ako sana eh. Anyway.
Yun nga gusto ko sana. At least 2 man lang, di ba? 2 sessions out of 4 man lang sana eh.
Oo.
Let's
Well,
see. Hindi ko
okay.
maalala kung ano yung pinaka-criteria.
It's okay. So at least we get more people, and there are more people who joined today, guys.
Yes, ang dami nga ngayon eh.
Oo, ang dami ngayon. So
Ang marami hatak si, si
iba pa
si Roy.
iba pag Roy Prado sa Charlie Fernando, ibang klaseng tandem 'yun eh. Okay. So if that's the case, if that
Exempted
is
ka
the
daw,
case,
Tom. Sabi ni Loni, bawal ka daw manalo.
no. Huwag ka magulo, Noni. Ako mag-i-introduce sa'yo sa day 3.
Noni, Noni, dapat
Walang batchmate, Doms.
sana dinok mo yung nagtotok ka na. Ano ba yung joke mo, Tony? Paano ba nanalo yun?
Hindi ko rin alam.
Say something about yourself. Pinalagay niya, something about myself. Ayun. Yun yung comment niya. So, yun.
Ayos.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Father Carmona wrote, thank you, Charlie and Roy. Okay, Mr. Lito Caballero says, Charlie, thanks. All right, very informative session, says Rodney Dayaw. Thank you, Father. Okay, so without further ado, tapos na tayo actually for today. And thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you to Don Bosco Mandaluyong Alumni Association. And we hope to see you in the homecoming next week and also in days 3 and 4 of the Don Bosco Alumni Webinar Series. In the meantime, my name is Dominic Mendoza, and I'd like to thank everyone. Thank you, Felix Cordero, for that, for the comments here. And thank you for attending. We'll see you all, and advance happy feast day of St. John Bosco to all of you. Thank you, and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.